きはささっと見ますか。2時間しかないんだこの試合。早かったもんな。改めてちょっと試合見てシージに対するモチベを上げていきましょうか。
This is it then, Tim. This is what it all comes down to. We had a little bit of smack talk there that you guys wouldn't have seen, but Benja popped up and asked.
久しぶりに見ると楽しみだな。
meant to replace on this team again. And Doki was in there saying JV saved himself this tournament. The mental warfare has already begun.
Certainly has. We're going to have our bands beginning as well. Ying will be the first to be put on the sideline for Consulate. Consulate, an interesting instantly. Feeling we're going to...
Operators weren't here.
On a couple of maps yesterday. No. Leave the action phase. We're going to have...
From G2. I mentioned that Solus ban coming on through and at least reducing the strength of that triple intel denial game that they love playing. It's still going to be really oppressive to deal with, but nowhere near as bad for W7M. And I imagine a big part of this goal for them is going to be that top floor control. We've seen a lot of DKB online in this tournament. Not seen too much Jackal being paired up alongside it, but with all three of those operators lined up, there is going to be so much Roma suppression coming out of this W7M team.
Virtue already coming out. He's going to win out that first fight. Herds, he's going to be taken down, and that leaves W7M looking to fight from distance. But he's there to back him up. Uno had a fantastic day yesterday, and he comes in hot, looking to continue that streak.
I thought we might see some top floor control coming
HerdsZとヘイズがダブルでやられたのも結構強いな。
But so far, they have been utterly refuted by the side of G2. 2 early kills coming in. No base control. You've got Philippok still flirting around Boiler at the minute, playing on the Lion, hoping to push on through. But for W7M in a 3 versus 5, these are the kind of rounds that G2 just don't throw away.
Unlikely. Philippok is going to be heading up those yellow stairs slowly.
ここから立て直しきついよな。エリア1ミリも取れてねえからな。黄色階段は取ったものの。フラントできたとしてもだよな。
Comes in a little bit late. They're going to have to play the retake, but in a 5 versus 1, you've got to say that JV92's really got his work cut out for him here. Finds the first. Can he find the second? Yes, he can. 1 versus 3.
うわ。
JV
強すぎ。壊れてたら話変わってたな。ここ割れてたら上からの車線防げたかもしれないからな。ワンチャンあったかもしれない。まあ通るとは思うけど。ワニパニシらっしゃい。E2 ってなんだっけ？コミュニティ大会。
Doki is currently quite aggressively holding admin at the minute, and I'm interested to see how W7M deal with this hold that G2 kind of pioneered.
NA の公式 T2。ねえ、相変わらずちゃんとコミュニティ大会やるよね。
W7M are going to have to have an answer for that, and that's either got to be direct, they've got to have a plan to clear it out, or it's got to be an alternative. It's got to be from elsewhere.
早くも懐かしく感じてしまう突き上げ。
Try to use those vertical nades just to ensure that they clear in behind that console desk, and it might just start to open up the windows a little bit for them.
Given the fact they're all positioned on the west side of the map here, there's no pressure coming in towards admin, for example. It feels to me like they want to get in below, get some nades coming up, use the flores to move players around, and then look for a plant in through window. And sure enough, there's that first nade kill that I was on about.
このフラグもあれなんだろうな。新シーズンだったら逃げられちゃうんだよな。AA にそれなんていうの？バイバイか。この辺りからもうなんか相手が前に来るっていうのを読んで戦ってるよな。なんか変な踏み込み方しないもんな、W7。 この試合を見てあれだな、自分の CG 新シーズンのモチベ上げよう。モチベ高いんだけどな、純粋にやる時間がマジでない。米とバイの間くらいのあとむずいね。それ日本人にとって一番むずいやつじゃん。ベイこんな感じ、ベイみたいな感じ。
They still need to move Alamau for one. He's going to be in a tricky position for them at the top of the stairs there when they try to move through.
Calls coming in quite early on as well, just trying to get early control of the map here. And you can see really for G2, a couple spread out towards the west side of the map that you can see through these outlines, a couple playing up on the ground.
やっぱ広がってるよね、W7M って各メンバーが。で、この辺りが収束し始めるんだよな。ドローンである程度取って多分収束できるところとそうじゃないところを確認してんだろうな。いけるところといけないところ。ドローンで確認してある程度人数かけなくていいところはかけないでいこうぜみたいな感じになってんだろうな。
We love a toe shot or two, Tim. Really good stuff there. These trades going back and forth. Both teams trading out players one after the other. Alamau going down is a bit of a stinger because he had those smokes in back.
この位置ローテッドホールいいね、バルケドあって。このコーヒールームのこのローテッド。
Have to make a risky decision whether you're pushing in through smoke or rotating players away. It forces action from the other side. Now they are inside the site, Tim.
トラネットは展開しない。フェリポックスすごい位置にいる。いやー、動くまで安易に勝負しないんだよな。今全部動いたところの引き入れに対してのカウンターだもんな。この状況判断がさすがだよな。ジャンゴさんこんにちは。エントリー11の0、化け物だね。飛び級でソニックス行かないか。バイは。
Yeah, W7M doing a great job so far of just basically disrupting what G2 want to do, and that's by not playing into it. They just have their own game plan. They're just heading straight into sight, thinking about that objective, and forcing G2 to be the ones who are reacting to them and what they're doing. So for the time being, they've got most of the runouts covered. The claymores have gone down. The due diligence has been paid. KZ's going to get himself up onto the top floor, and that's going to leave them with JV92 opening up the closet, reviewing. They are this time looking for that vertical control. They learned the lesson last time in Piano. Uno was able to
SQ もアンビ加入したの？マジで？まだ発表正式になってないんじゃない？さっきリキピディア見てたけど書いてなかったよ。まだ正式発表じゃないんだよ。アンビ説高かったもんな。
Looking a little bit ropey once again for G2. W7M just looking clinical, like they're on a mission here today, Tim.
Yeah, certainly starting to struggle a little bit, and we've seen the attackers have
difficulties on
Consulate so far. It's a big map, there's a lot of small rooms, a lot of clearance work needs to be done, so G2 having the defense to begin with need to really be trying to get a few rounds in the bag here and take the pressure off when they are on the attacking side. JV92 is going to take a lot of damage, and Benja is there, steps around the corner and finds himself a nice easy headshot.
Benja absolutely loves playing lobby.
いるっていう状況でガジェット見る余裕はねえからな。ここでのリテイク熱すぎるな。いやでも進行はできねえよな。こっから先の車線管理がえぐい。ヘリポックスが偉すぎるな本当に。そこもカバーするのか。ラブラさんこんにちはいらっしゃい。
to hurt G2. They haven't been able to retake above, and it leaves Uno in a 1v2 on site alone as he moves around. He knows that the pressure's there. He just needs to bide his time. He knows that there's going to be an opportunity onto the Ash, but Philippox is getting that diffuser down once again.
いやー、フェリポのスモークが偉すぎる。ちゃんとあそこでスモーク投げるのがマジで偉い。あー、どこでプラントしてるか分かってないもんな。鉄の屏風の裏でプラントしなかったピアノの裏だから、なんで今最後走ったんだろうな。
Aids rifling on. Also,
So far they've not lost here. They've gone through win after win.
いないっていう判断
Just
だった。
ask how much of G2 been tested up to this point. Is this going to be the real first time that they have their backs against the wall and they're sort of facing that pressure? And can they stand up to it? Alamo, he can't stand up. That's going to be 3 smokes gone as well. Herds taking him down with a big opening kill and.
あれもマジで息してない試合だもんな。
oh, they love it. Every single round end, they've been in all chat, just whining Alamo up as best they can, running some Portuguese back and forth. But for Alamo, there's a bit of an ego peak. There's no reason for you to swing that window.
あとローグが T2 に参加しててローサの一旦チラ見せしてました。あ、そうなんだ。へえ。まあローグで再出発できるんだったらそれはそれでいいよね。
Yeah, very isolated, and it's very much about can you win your individual fights. But when you're coming up against 2-3 players from W7M, those individual fights become extremely difficult, and that's what G2 are seeing at the minute. So the pressure will continue from W7M
ジュグズいたんだ。
yellow side of the map, trying to get themselves in and around.
まあでも所詮レオンのあれでしょ、お友達内閣なんでしょ。マジで興味ねえんだよな。
Battening down the hatches a little bit, but it doesn't matter when JV's going to walk up spiral, create the space, and W7M grab themselves.
EU で言うとでも M&M の代わりのチームどうするんだろうねってところが一番気になるね。M&M のメンバーがある程度残ったチームがあったらそこに権利を与えるのか、それとも大手みたいなところを取るのか、どっちなんだろうね。あー、メーカーズか。まあネロ行ったからな。なんか最近さ撤退が相次いでるから個人的にはなんかそれなりに経済力があるチームを UBI さんが招待するんじゃないかなと俺も思う。まあ、UBI さんなのかブラストなのか分かんないけど、そこら辺俺もよく どっちがどっちなんだろうと思ってる。いいフラグ。トリックって言ったね。トリック刺さりました。今日7-1-7-2で負けたメーカーズさん。そうなんだ。でもメンバーガラリと変えてたもんな。まだ全然準備できてないでしょ。
There's another problem for them as Doki manages to take down KZ. JV92 is trying to push those Visa stairs. He's trying to move his way through, but
でもなんかあれだよね。ネロが一番最初に居場所が決まるっていうのは意外っちゃ意外だよね。まあ、優秀なので欲しいチームもあると思うけど、やっぱユズスとどう考えてもソロトフが一番最初に決まりそうだったけど、ネイフとタイラントの方が行き先もうほぼ確定してるもんな。まあ、ネイフは確定してタイラントもほぼほぼ GK っぽいもん。実はちょっとどう立て直すかだよな。やってることはいいとは思うんだけど、強い。その読み強すぎ。まああっこはでも補強壁割れなかったのが全てだったな。この補強壁割れない問題が新シーズンどうなるかなんだよな。スカーズの面々が結構苦労してるようなこと書いてたもんな。
Doki yesterday, and he was like, but I get a lot as well, and I'm like, okay, fair enough then. And they're doing that just now, Tim. So bring Jaeger or Mai all you like, G2 love their vertical nade. You are not going to be expecting them to go laterally. And so far, they found that down, turned it into a kill off the back of it. And Doki is still going fishing.
It just gives you a good idea as to the information that they're getting above as well.
EU 見ると T2 の方がグレナーフに対応してる気がする。そうなんだ。俺もちょっと見てみよう。
Nearly halfway through the round now. G2 just need to be thinking about what control they've gained as well. Yes, they've been able to use those vertical nades. Yes, they've been able to do a bit of damage and get an opening kill. But what have they done in terms of map control? If it comes to the point where it's time to put that diffuser down, right now they wouldn't be able to.
A square off between Herds and Virtue here as well. Who moves first really is this big question. And that'll be the fight, I think, over that east side of the map, sorry, on top floor.
ここで止まるのしんどいね。
Doki also working his way up spiral. They're trying to push in at the same time.
いたずらに時間が過ぎるだけだからな。
Just not really coming to fruition yet.
No, W7M proving to be a bit of a brick wall on the defense here, not really allowing G2 any space. Like I say, no real control.
プロかもっとプロ入ってるチームほど苦労している。へえ。まあでもプロのチームはなんかまだ準備してないからだいぶあるからな。とりあえずオフシーズンを挟んで、まあ、大会直近になるので1回出とくみたいな感じだと思うから。
Spinning with the Doki manages to find the kill. There's still one more top stairs though. G2 are still in a 2 versus 3. W7M remain on top.
会場の声日本語配信よりもよっぽど入ってる気がする。
Gonna take a lot of damage through the softball there, but Virtue can't find the kill. 20 seconds in G2. They have no option here. Virtue, Doki, you gotta move, you gotta go, you gotta find these kills. Pops up from behind the long dash. JV92, he gets the first, taking down Doki, and there's the second onto Virtue and W7M. They hold on and they show us that they are gonna be very difficult to move on these defenses.
なんか攻めは苦労してるよな、G2どう考えても。
The admin side.
When I touched on net comes round to positioning, when it comes round to gunfights, when it comes round to information, they're just on top in every other way. And G2, you know they're getting a bit desperate here because that shield is coming out. They want to try and make this work, but it does require getting in through the breach first and foremost. Nade almost losing his life there from the long shot.
Yep, definitely needs to be careful now. He's going to block up that for the time being, but the breach is open and will likely be followed up on, and we'll see that keeper barricade will be cleared out. Nitro goes out. W7M maybe just looking a little bit rattled here as everything's getting thrown at this to see what sticks, but I'll tell you what sticks.
アレマを外すね。まあちょっとアレマの IGL の限界を見た気がするんだよな、この試合。俺も。ただなんか外してどうするっていうビジョンがない限りは外せないでしょ。だからなんかコーチちゃんとした人連れてこないとダメなんじゃない。ラマルホでなんかどういうチーム作りたいのかみたいな。なんかラマルホ連れてきたのはアレマオが考えてることの補完でしかないようにしか見えないからな。
W7M have still got 2 C4s in back pocket to play behind. Virtue gets 1, but at this point, it feels like more of a consolation kill. Yet again, W7M are there with the trade, and it's all on Doki to clutch.
まあ正直ブラジルチームとの差はあるよね。まあブラジルチームというか W7M との差はあるよな。やっぱコーチが優秀よ。イグールコーチ来てからもう大幅に変わったもんな。
Key difference here to G2's defense coming out is the pulse of Felipox. They're still playing very similar positions otherwise. You've even got Nade playing up where Alamal was on the smoke previously. Really trying to force their way through here. So Nade has got to be careful. All of them trying to work their way in. But for me, Pulse playing in the middle of this team can just feed information on any pulse or any pushes that come on through. Let the team know when they've got to rotate resource around. That information game was what was missing for G2 on their defense. But W7M
ファビアンがアレマは KD1 キルとメンタルがダメ言うてた。KD1 キルって結構なことだと思うけどな。結構なことじゃない KD1 って。いやでもアレマンはなんかチーンとなるときチーンとなるよね。俺そのイメージはもともとあったけどな。
And W7M have been picking up every opportunity that's been presented to them so far.
This attack is so tight coming out of G2. Everyone boxing in towards server except Benja, who's playing a bit of distraction, a little bit of backstab on the other side.
やってることは間違いないと思うからな。もう一枚どうやってレベルアップするかだよな。やってること難しいんだよね、G2 がやってることって。
This is one of their side players going down here as well. This is the execute focus gun they need, and really here they're looking for crossfires to protect.
逆になんかこの両時間に関してはモンターニュ連投で持ってきてるように、自分たちのその勝ち上がってきたすごい情報を取って柔軟に動くっていう戦いができねえぞっていう判断になっちゃってるからね。モンターニュ持ってくるとどうしてもラインが決まるからね。そうラインをどこに設定するか分かってないような戦い方を見せ続けてたのがこのメジャーで勝ち上がってきた G2 の強みの一つだったから、まあ強みの一つというか強みの一番大きなところだったから、それがモンターニュ使うことによってやっぱ限定されちゃうんだよね。いや今のも多分あれも下からのつけ見といてほしかったみたいな感じで言ってるかもしれないんだけど、もう見れないよねあの距離から。終わってしまった。20分しか見てねえ。配信スタートしてから21分です現在。強すぎる。受けて待つのがやっぱうまいよな。そのなんだろうな、一方的にプレッシャーかけられて受け入れるっていうところじゃなくて、そこ無理しないでそろそろ覗かないと厳しいっしょっていうところまでちゃんと盤面待つんだよな。それがやっぱ W7M うまいよね。5の線だよまさに。宮本武蔵先に仕掛けさせてそれを透かして決定的な一打を取るっていう。5の線が素晴らしい。俺もまずまずいい勝負だったけど。
ADSs are down, he can get aggressive if he wants to. You've got Benja up on top floor as well, so they are trying to play this.
Yeah, I like this.
Obviously, the frustration being that you're looking towards like Mira and towards Warden. One speeds, they're slow as all hell. They're very noisy on the roam as well, so it's not like you've got 3 speeds charging around for fun anymore.
本当にこのメジャーで見せてた積極性をこの試合本当出さなかったもんな、G2 な。
Really, Benja's the one that I'm looking at to cause a bit of an upset. And like you say, I think if Doki goes unchecked here, then suddenly, well, he could get the opener that really sets this round on fire.
They know that he's there.
いいハサミ。
There we go.
They knew that he was there. You could see it from the shots being sent in from the main door through the.
こういう一枚の浮いた遊撃絶対許さないもんな、多分。
Get him to move. They did. He pushed around into meeting, and Herds was just there waiting for him. W7M, they've got G2's number, does.
They do. That's on the roam at the very least. Now, 4v5 is not unwinnable on this site, I don't think either. Normally, the defenders end up very, very grouped together around the middle site. They end up around Highway, maybe poking in towards Freezer. You can kind of expend one person and still fill all the points that you need to hold. But my frustration, probably for G2, is look at what they're coming up against. You got a Capital, you got fire coming in, you got smokes coming in, you got loads of flashes coming in. You still got a frag
JB が何でも使えるのもでかいよな。ネイドと JB、まあフェリボックスもそうだけど、やっぱ幅広げてくれるよね、オペレーターって。決してハーデスとヘイズがピック幅狭いわけじゃないんだけど、ね、どうしてもここにキルを取ってもらいたいところなのか。まあ JB だよね、やっぱ MVP 取った。一番柔軟にオペレーターピックできる。
as well. Uno's going to find one already. A second falls. Alamal's on the board. Traded out straight away. It's 1 for 1 between the two teams. And they've got the mirror window.
これを勝つよな。たださすがのヘイズさんも。さすがにな。ただよくボム裏抜けるよな。あそこ脱ぐのえぐいよな。ブラックミラーがあるのに。 あれプラック見てあったっ
Right,
け
two
あっ
then
た
is
よ
going to see us go to the top floor this time for G2. For a defensive half for G2 here, I'm looking as a 4-2 absolute minimum. Really they want to be looking to win one of those third choice sites as well and give themselves at least, maybe a 5-1 even would be a great message to send, but it's certainly going to be tough. They do have presence up in T3 now. I'm not sure if W7M have spotted that out or not. That could be one of those positions to really keep an eye on in the last sort of minute or so. There could be a big flank to come off from that, especially if W7M
すごいよね。この草むらでタクティカルクロスボウ構えてる人初めて見た。どこに入るんだろう。結果このシーンはよく覚えてるんだけど、どこに入ったか覚えてる。2回防衛で子供部屋入られてるんだよ。えぐいよ。
Doki's moving in here, manages to find himself a pistol kill, and that is going to close out the round. G2
ここはドキの強気な勝負で打開点を見出したね。
That's a classic. Still, we've got the Thorn coming in as well for Uno in this round. That's one that we've seen got the 1.5x recently. See, Solar now, but normally ridiculously powerful at isolating those gunfights for defenders and making attacks an absolute nightmare.
この2ラウンドで G2 マップ目のショックを取り戻せたんじゃないかなっていう気がするけどな。両正夫さん、おはようございます。確かこのオレゴンピックが W7M だったんだよね。
There've been a couple of backroom stuff on G2, both current and old, that have said Virtue may just be the most mechanically gifted player in the game, which is high praise coming in from coaching staff. When you see the likes of Shaiko and Benja playing day to day, they're absolutely terrifying. But the reason why Virtue isn't always putting up big numbers is because he's got an incredible front line.
いやー、これウーのいいアプローチだね。レーザーブルームシェルの反応に合わせてしっかりピック。
Normally again, Benja, Alamau, and Doki are the ones always getting the kills in the front. Virtue's there when things go bad, and that's exactly what you've got him for. They step round. Great team play coming out of G2. Once again, they're playing off each other.
And that is what was missing on Consulate. Herds is now left 1v5. He is going to deny the flawless round, but it's very unlikely that he manages to get anything else in the bag here. Alamau has come up big with 2 kills in the middle of the round there. Fresh picked up on him at the beginning of this game, saying that they needed Alamau to be growing into it. They needed him to be finding his presence, finding his performance, and that might just be the spark that he needs.
I just love the strength we're seeing in the backline players in Virtue and Uno so far.
もちもちきなこもちさん、こんにちは。いらっしゃい。
Between them, 9 kills across these 3 rounds. Again, you don't always see these boys shine because the frontline players are the ones doing all the work. But having that strong backline you can fall on, it takes you back to TSM at SI21 when we had Charlotte and Geo that were just unshakable in the back. And that's when you got through the front 3 of TSM. So you're seeing a similar sort of style here where those 2 back players, unshakable, unmovable, and an absolute terror for W7M if they can't get their way through this team.
Herds taking his time, just waiting for opportunities.
Alamau needed that one for the confidence.
I think, yeah. Herds just
時間あるからな、ハーデスならワンチャンと思っちゃうよな。
time for his team here. They're not, I don't think, having, those sort of unofficial timeouts that we talk about sometimes. He's not trying to burn the round. He's got a lot of time.
今音鳴らして
And
つっ
what
て
he's
んね。
doing is he's trying to bait G2
見ないといけない視線多すぎだもんな。
He's wanting them to come and look for
さすがにやで。
it happens. It really
今のでもうまいね。
up to do.
足音鳴らして食いつきを狙ってた。そうか、立ち上がり苦しかったんだな、この2マップ目。W7 もうタイムアウトを使った。まあでも3マップ目までは行くと思ったけどな、さすがに。やっぱ1マップ目の負け方がな。
Yeah, they've done that very well throughout the game so far, and it must be wearing on G2 to, every time you manage to carve an opportunity, there's always an answer for it.
don't hate it though, because you've removed the Capital. 2 smokes offline, 2 firebolts, 2 tin openers for that expendable operator we spoke about in the Jaeger. All his gadgetry is already down. He is just a free roaming gun on the other side. You've got rid of a gun and 6 pieces of utility. That is huge.
Well, Capito is certainly an influential operator. HerdsZ is going to take down Benja, so that does put G2 under a little bit of pressure now. It's going to be Virtue, Alamo, and Uno as that core inside of sight that are going to have to hold on. Not only that, W7M have got a lot of time here, Des. They've got control of the entire map. They can now move around a little bit more confidently. The hatches can be dealt with by Maverick, so that can still be done. Supported by Nade on the ace as well. They can get everything they need here, can W7M, and they can do it with an awful lot of time to spare. The next couple of kills really need to go G2's way if they're going to win this and continue the streak.
This is where, again, you turn to your backline players in Uno and Virtue to go huge, because for W7M, again, full credit, they dealt with Doki very quick. They got the trade. Benja, they hunted down, knowing that he was alone on the top floor without Doki there to assist. They've played things incredibly well, and that's, I'm afraid, an indestructible, man. I think only explosives get rid of it at this point.
殴るの怖すぎだよね。よく殴る。
Forward here. Should be able to get rid of that one, and that's none left in the back pocket of HerdsZ here. So this shield, very much
この強気の守りすごいよな。リにはかなってる。まあここは勝負せざるを得ないからな。自利品だから待ってても挟まれるだけだからな。ハッチとブルーバンカーで。
W7M look like they've got the sails of first round.
Bit of miscom there, I think, as well, and the hatch being opened up. It always means that Uno is
いい張り込みだよな。
in a good spot. He's going to find Nade here. Doesn't want to get too close to that hatch again, though. One inside the pillar. Virtue's found a second. I spoke about these backline players, Tim, and they're starting. HerdsZ just misses.
このフリックえぐいな。
It's Alamo left against 2 here. Shotgun in hand.
あそこもナイフ出るすぐに。すごくない？よくハーデスナイフ出るよね。あの反応速度で。
being flanked. So they're
do something. Third stairs, I think that's about as aggressive as it gets.
Again, early on, poking your head above the first set of stairs just to collect drones is really the main thing you want to go for. Change on W7M side, no Flores this time, the Jackal for HerdsZ. So really it's good for G2 that they've thrown everyone back on towards side, otherwise Benja would be getting hunted down. So nice response. It doesn't make the Jackal useless, still has the shotgun to do any soft destruction, not a ton to do downstairs, still has the smokes to play behind. He can still be a big part of this round.
Yeah, it's always useful to have that bit of information. You know, any drop of intel inside a siege can be vital. Maybe
まあさっき領事館でヘイズが使ってたね。
that gives you that opportunity, but yes, it's certainly not going to be at his most valuable here. HerdsZ coming around the corner and just going to start that push to take control of rear stage stairs.
Checking everything. They are
very
relentless.
Cautious.
Gadgets, you know, anything they can find, they're just on the hunt for it, not just players. But now they know everything's clear. They've done the homework inside, what, 60 seconds, Tim? They can put all their attention downstairs. They have got so much time to play with. And this time around,
さっきと道筋が似てて、だね、このフェリーポックスが2枚割って、ハッチも割ってるのはさっき見たデジャブ感があるからね。これ1分30秒でどうまとめるか。どうなんだろうね。トゥバラオが出てきて、ハッチに対するアプローチをやられた場合って、さらに時間かかるのかな。ただでさえ地下に連れてる時点で時間ないのに。
Uno stepped back onto spot as well on the Fenrir. They stepped forward with the C4 there and then traded it back out. So Uno is back on that position, freeing up Alamo to step back in and join the rest of his team elsewhere on site. Very much at the center of things once again for Leapok. 0 and 4 so far on the map. But again, Capital brings a lot of utility. Doki starting out the frag in this time round. Benja tucks inside a laundry side and JV gets the trade back. Doki, as much as getting kills, there is always an answer from the Latam side.
リンネナさんこんにちは。ネイドが偉すぎる。ネイドマジでもう本当に無駄なですしねえよな。もうスマートグラス刺さんじゃない？刺さんなかった。
Looking rough now. They're starting to figure things out on that basement site. So for G2, I think it's time to step away. Always curious if you come down to this situation where really you should have the advantage on the defensive side if you choose that as your timeout, but imagine they're going to save that for the attack inside. Kidstorm's going to be the last site that we step into then for G2. They held up there pretty well, but it was a very scrappy round. If you remember, the Nook just came charging up white stairs, was deep inside of sight. G2 managed to recover.
シージやりたいって思いながらメジャー見てました。そうだよね。俺は今もやりたいと思ってこの試合を見てるよ。全然やる暇がない。
Always 2 or 3 players moving in a given direction, and it causes chaos in the comms. And I look back to old school Wolves in EU. They were very good at saying 3, 2, 1, right, all 5 players are in. Herds, does he know? I mean, really should have had a freebie there onto Doki, but Doki just casually looks left. Oh, there's a player there. Freebie.
ドキも若干気づいてなかったからやっぱ音聞けないんだろうな。
Not traded for the last 2 rounds. It has been. Could be the start of something good for G2.
Yeah, Doki's got away with one there, I think, realistically. Doesn't necessarily hear Herds, I think, pushing. Doesn't realise that his gun barrel was going to give him away, but gets the job done. We've seen that a couple of times from Doki, both on Consulate and Oregon. So good for G2, get themselves the advantage. Like you say, they really want to be taking a 4-2 half. If you come away 3-0 and then it's 3-3 at the break, I think you're kind of asking what's happened at that point. Doki manages to find a second on to Nade, and then for Leapox, he's just trying to get anything he can get going from that master balcony, but has to drop away.
A little bit tentative here, yeah. You had the initial charge fall where Herds was by himself, hoping to make a lot of space very quickly. Then had your hard breacher step forward and get domed by Doki. It's not ideal. Virtue sat inside of security gets one. Fleetbacks might find a nade kill, but it feels at 4 versus 2 like this one is a bit of a rough ask for W7M to bring back. It could be that 4-2 half that G2 will be happy with.
奥の車線のカバー素晴らしいねベンジャー。
But again, that team player just coming to the forefront. Somebody there on the cover, ready to take those shots and back.
シージの新イベントクソすぎる問題とかなんとかしてください。俺新イベントさ、俺1ミリも昨日来てると思って見ただけで、そのままいつも通りの射撃訓練場で練習してただけなんだけどさ、どういうモードなのあれ。だいぶ凝ってそうだったけど相変わらず。まあちなみに俺はイベント1ミリも興味ないんでどうでもいいです。それよりもチームデスマッチマッチングしてくれるのちょっと。
I was just going to say, Doki, as we've said so many times, is one of those players, a little bit all or nothing, and G2 really needed him to step up and have one of those all games.
4人は予定調和での折り返しではあったよな。
He's then been able to follow it up with further kills in the round, and if he can continue that, then we're going to find W7M on the back foot and seeing what they can do under pressure. Right now, W7M have got themselves all back to sight, so G2, just like W7M had, have got 2 minutes to build that attack. How are they going to create space? What utility do they need to clear? How do they find that final execute?
Yeah, largely pull back here is the key thing, I think, for W7M, because G2 kept 2 out on the roam and paid the price in that 5 versus 3. At least with the discipline being shown here. Okay, we've lost 1. It really shouldn't have been our smoke going down. That is especially not ideal, but it is what it is. Let's play back on site here and look to structure in, ready for the hit. Now, G2 have done the work. They know that the map is clear. They know they can get themselves set up around these hatches. It's exactly what Uno is now going to start heading to do. Doesn't matter what he's playing in terms of an operator. He still has his duties of getting these hatches opened up. First one's done. Going to follow up with kitchen.
会議室のグリムじゃないや。オレゴン地下のグリム強いからな。この会議ホールから川ハイブ打ち込むのやっぱ強いもんな。柱の位置どかせられるのがでて、まあどかせられるかいないって判断できるのがでかいよ。
on site and where that final pressure is going to come from. I don't know if Virtue's going to open that laundry hatch or not, but for the time being, they're just sort of probing a couple of different areas of sight. They now go into a final drawn-in phase, which is let's get a picture of what's happening on site, where is everybody, and then we can build that final picture. 3, 2, 1, in they go.
And there's a lot of them stacked up north side here. I'm always nervous when I see 3 players sat on the meeting hatch, because it's just a death drop. You walk in there and someone's holding down left mouse button, you're all dead. It's really scary. But there's one hanging on Shaiko's side. The pressure coming in from Virtue on top side. He's abandoned lobby. They're all just going north to him.
After the flash goes in to clear any potential utility that will stop this nade, Benja is going to send it down. The drop comes on through. Doki gets 2, but W7M, they stand up fantastically. JB92 finding kills. G2, they need to get moving again here. 15 seconds, and that's great from Alamo. 2 versus 1 now. Herds, he's stuck back in freezer. There could be an opportunity for them to get this diffuser down.
But he could ruin everything here as well.
この攻撃通してだいぶ G2 サードマップに向けて視界良好だなと思って見てたんだけどな。 ね、このハッチダイブ結構削り切ったんだけどな。ここアレマの良さが出たね。勝負強さ。あ、これ7号で負けるからこっから1本も取れなかったのか。どこで飲まれるかをチェックしてね。
All eyes obviously turn towards the Amaru here as well from Alamau. What crazy players he got in mind. I think we all know what exactly that play is going to be. It's going to be springing inside of the kid's window. It's more waiting for the setup to come through from the rest of his team to draw enough attention that he can make that play. Right now, though, there is no one sat inside a pit, no one inside of sight. The only man who can possibly challenge him is Nade, who's hanging around game. So an opportunity there exists for G2. They just don't want to take it yet until there's more pressure.
No, this is it because it's quite, you know, it's quite a compact.
ピョン君が SNS 書いてたけど、新シーズンショットガン流行りそうだよ。突き上げ用に攻撃がショットガン。
Is going to pick up Benja, so that's a good start for W7M. Gets himself back into sight via Attic catch as well. Really nice Oryx play.
Really thought we might see there a spring in from G2 if they knew one was off site up north trying to challenge Alamau. He could have sprinted towards Kid's window and made that a very quick fight, but W7M are playing a little bit of G2 strat here, holding pretty firm on and around site itself. With the classic Latam extending towards Armory, you've got KZ playing out on that side of the map in case anyone does try and walk up Armory or push in through Armory window, but no one is doing that right now, so G2 have to make this work with just 3.
Yeah, they're just going to have to force their way in at this point. There's really no space being given by W7M. Herds manages to find Bird.
この試合マジでキルシーン映ってねえから何がどうなってるか分かりづれえな。
This could be a flawless round. It's all up to Alamau. He's on the Amaru just outside of game's window. And guess what? They know exactly where he is. Pops is going looking. You just know that he's desperate for it.
Send a message, get out the window. That's what I want to see. And it's Nate.
分かりづら。最後もキルシーン映ってねえし。
Me.
Is clear, checking attic, armory stairs, and making sure he's not going to be getting caught out by any roamers on that top floor. This is something that G2 have done well so far. You know, just check, have a good understanding. Ooh, there is a player up on the top floor. I'm not sure that Herds has been picked up here. I was just going to say, G2 have done a good job of using that drone information and making sure the map's clear and taking it quickly, but we need to keep an eye on Herds.
I don't want to dogpile him on either, but Benja was an absolute freak of nature at 6th Invitational. Deleted every team he came against. Here he's been very quiet, even across the tournament. Not really been their star player and stand out. We've seen Doki taking top of the leaderboard at points. Uno stepped up there as well. Virtue's had some big games. Alamau, second highest rated player in the whole competition. Benja just a little bit absent so far in this competition. If you're going to make yourself known, I think in round 9 of Oregon in a best of 3 in the semis is probably the place to do it.
マジでもっさりしてるよ。
Now on the move, and I don't think that they're aware that he's going to be on the flank here. He's going to be down white stairs, and this could be a real problem for G2 if they are unaware. If he gets onto their flank here, they're still working around that mid floor. They're in meeting at the moment, trying to open hatches up, and Herds, he's just biding his time, Des. He knows that the opportunity is there for him.
You're going to go green here, I imagine, try a bit of a backstab, and could very well get away with it unless G2 have got some great flank drones set up. We've got the beauty of a top-down view, and we can't see any drones anywhere. G2, the backstab has been executed, and Herds may have just deleted this attack already for G2.
And with a nomad on the board,
足位置ちょっと合ってないよね。シージの今のスピード感に。
Multiple staircases where those air jabs are going to be used to
それは
prevent
すごい思
anybody
う。
moving up from the basement. But if you know somebody's on the top floor and you're trying to play without dealing with them, then they maybe have to position in different places.
いやなんかスピード3段階はあっていいと思うんだけどさ。今の足2をさ、足3にして、足1の上のスピード作ってもいいかもしれない。
All gadgetry is still in back pocket for G2 outside of the tin openers and 1 frag grenade. This is not really what you want coming into the last 30 seconds. G2 are going to lose this round with everything still in back pocket and able to be used. Uno might find one, find the second as well.
さすがにね、3人目までは。
W7M are not going to let that.
Dealing with
W7M really making a
なんかじわじわ取り返してる感じで、どこで流れが変わったってのはあんまないね。なんかオレゴンだなーって感じだから、やっぱここか、サードポイントか。足1しか使わないからしんどみ感じるとき多々あります。サッチャーとかもいい加減きついよな。ゾフィアとか。足2種で HP 量の調整でバランス取ると良いとどうだ。いや、俺はそれはなしだな。なんでかって分かりづらい、初心者に対して。同じ足2なのにこいつ HP が100でこいつ120でみたいなの俺分かりづらいと思うから、それは絶対やめた方がいい。スピード感と HP は絶対セットにしないと、それはもうゲームバランスの根幹を俺は歪めるから、それやっちゃダメだと思う。ここだよな。あ、これで流れ変わったんだ。そうだそうだ、ここ実況者の覚えてるわ。 EDD であれだけ俺ちゃんと EDD がここにクローゼットについてますっていう実況して、その後吹き飛んだんだよな、時が。そうだそうだ。いや、ここで珍しくってここで見せてたんだよな。完全なコミュニケーションミスだからな、それは。
Find Uno out as he on the Ossa as well was really the one you're looking for to execute. Hard breach onto meeting wall. Ossa to execute with the shield. They can't do that.
でもアシとグラズが同じ体力なのおかしくないですか。なんで別にじゃない。なんでだって同じスピードだったら同じ HP じゃん。なんでおかしいと思うのかが俺は逆にわからない。逆にグラズは足3じゃねえんだよ。なんで足3にしたのって感じだ。そのこういうアビリティの能力的に。
Honestly, Herds is unstoppable right now, and Alamo just his latest in a long line of victims. W7M on their feet.
ここか、やっぱり流れ変わったの。だって全然近づけなかったもんな、ポイントに。それ見た目的な話でしょ。それ見た目的にはしょうがないんだよ。あいつ昔だってさ、めちゃくちゃ足遅く出てきてんだからさ、グラズ。だからダイエットしたんだよ、頑張って。だからあの服の下ガリガリよ。あばら見えてるもん。特殊部隊スペツナズと思えないぐらいガリガリになってるから。あれ、ここぶち抜かれるんじゃなかったっけ。いや、もうここもミスなんだよな。あ、そうだよね、ここもぶち抜かれるんだよね。いや、もうアレマーがもう完全に心折れてるもんな。
He is single-handedly taking the European side apart.
Absolutely terrifying, isn't it? Uno's got to be so careful here as well. He's got the juice from Doki if
ミ
needed.
ス続いたよな、やっぱり。
But he nearly lost his life previously. Now he's trying to work his way up in towards master bedroom.
あとなんか困った時のモンターニュなんだよね、実この大会。それはどうなのかなと思ってしまうね、個人的には。あれもでもファーストモブの方がもっとひどかったよ。あ、ハリスのカバーか。
Yet again, it comes down to that drone play and someone not being sniffed out. Herds finds yet another multi-kill in this game. W7M really making that claim for the finals. Ben just got it all to do.
17キルか。強すぎだよな。
Herds just he's taken what Alamo said in the interview personally, I think, does.
Oh, you're telling me?
He's come out here to respond directly.
He drops the easy in all chat as well.
この試合でもやっぱキルがちゃんと映ってないから、なんかショートにしづらいな。
3 kills in 4 rounds for G2 and now they have to
これで
go
逆転
down
マ
to
ッ
the
チでしょ。
basement. They did win this site at the start of the half, but they got pretty rocked here in round 9. It's the only place they found any kills really across this map. What can they do here to break them open? And most importantly, Tim, can they deal with the roamers? Last time round, they got utterly deleted by Herds coming off on that flank. They've got to work some magic here, or it is done and dusted, and it is that all LATAM Grand Final that I'm sure Brazilian fans are dying to see.
Let's not forget as well, W7M now 4 rounds in a row, just proven to be.
いや今の時代は俺作戦じゃないと思うよ。チームコンセプトとして情報収集とラインの引き方をどうするかっていう感じだと思うから、それがね W7M は独自で結出してると思う。実もそこに挑んでること自体は俺間違いじゃないと思うんだけど、このメジャーには間に合わなかったね。やっぱウーノ入れてからの時間がなかったっていうのは正直あると思うから、次のインビで評価じゃない。実は方向性としては俺悪くないと思うけどね。ただなんかよっぽど新しいものを持ってこないとこの W7M には勝てないと思うけど、一つポイントがするとやっぱりこのフラグ問題があって、結構戦術の根本が変わってるから、攻撃のね、なんか新しい発明をするチャンスだと思う。次のインビに関して言うと、それは今各チームはどう考えてどうアプローチしてるかはマジで楽しみ。なんか困った時に縦なんだよな。これがどうなのよって感じなんだよな実。だからこの辺りも手数がなかったんだよな。それこそこの辺りは作戦でカバーしないといけないんじゃない？持ってきてる戦術でカバーしないといけないんじゃない？ W7 は本当戦術持ってくるチームじゃないからな。今大会も2回か3回ぐらいじゃないっけ速攻やったの確か。あ、これ持ってきたセットプレーだなと思ったの本当に2回か3回ぐらいだよね。それだけ自力で戦うチームだからな。ガチでエグいよな。
Is Casey hanging around towards Freezer? If they don't drone through Freezer and a player wants to push it, he may well catch them by surprise. They're checking everything though, just in case.
The thing is, I'm glad to see it from G2. They've learned their lesson, and they're not going to go in and give them an opportunity.
いやー、ここで地下任されるのは結構しんどいよね実。地下攻めないといけないのは。やっぱさっきの2つ前かサードポイントのラウンドが分かれ道だったね。
It can, but W7M are playing this really well too. They've got so much to sit behind. You've got the Fenrir, you've got the C4s, you've got impacts potentially that then come out of Herds as well. You've got the Goyo canisters deployed around site. They have hunkered down here, and you're already losing gunfights.
いやもうオレゴンとかは本当やり尽くしてる感じあるよ。実況解説しててもこれもう何話すんだよっていう感じに正直なってる部分はあるからね。まあこの回から初めて見る人もいるからと思って丁寧にやってはいるけど、多分ずっと見てくれてた人からするとまたこいつら同じこと言ってんだと思ってる部分は多分にあると思う。旧エンパイアにこう進化してほしかった。あーなるほどね、言ってることは分かる。でもなんかポケモンでいうところの3段階進化すると思ったら2段階しか進化しないポケモンだったなって感じだな。エンパイアはあれ以上伸びるイメージがマジでない。なんか見失ってる。いやここ締めるのマジですげえよな。いや結局さ打ち勝てないからこの選択肢取ってこじ開けようとするんだけど、まあそりゃ無理だよねって話なんだよな。いや選択肢としてはめちゃくちゃわかる。選択肢としてはめちゃくちゃわかるんだけど G2 の限界を見たよな。やっぱここで止められた時に G2 がやっぱりベスト4に来るまでにやってたことを止められた時にもう一段階何か出せるか。だからインビ優勝した時は G2 それができてたんだよね。さらにここからこう上げてくるんだみたいな感じだったんだけど、明らかにもうネタ切れてたね。最後のブリッツで無理やりこじ開けようとしたのが全てだったな。いや多分もうなんかあまりに打ち合いで負けすぎていけなかったんだと思う。その先に新しいマップを大会でも見たいなと思うんですよ。多分来年は大丈夫だと思いますよ。インビは多分無理だと思うんですけど、多分来シーズンはアジトとか来ると思います。アジトは多分来ると思う。まあオレゴンあたり変わるんじゃない？いよいよ あとどこだっけ、防衛が強かったの、オレゴン並みに。どっかあったよね。いやマジで強えな。改めて見ても最後スタッツ見ときましょう。まさかの2マップで、1時間いかなかった配信です今日。まさかの展開。まずこれがこっちで見づらいんだけどさ、公式サイト。これがファーストマップね。結局2ラウンドしか実取れませんでしたって話なんだけど、ここまで行けばいけるかな。横に並んでほしいんだけど、ほらあれも3の9でマイナス6、なんか赤字になってる。何この赤字。赤字ってことは赤点ってこと？補修あるこれ。ベンジャー頑張ってたね。土器が安定していいけどな、やっぱな。エントリー3の1。バーチューエントリー勝ってるけど4の8か。途中が打ち負けたね。極右ヘッドショットか。KPR。で、領事館に関しては赤チーム最低。ああなるほど、タイのところは一緒ってことね。JB11 の4、ヘイズが10の5。まあハーデスまあまあなんで、こっちのマップハーデスまあまあなんだよね。ヘイズすごいぞ、ヘッドショット70、お同期 88% すご。ヘッドショットえぐいね。で問題は第2マップだったんですが、もうこの人がバケモンすぎたね。20の6。エントリー4の1だぜ。だって土器が4の2だぞ、これエントリー。ほぼ5分。だから中盤以降の打ち合いでいかに W7M が強いかだよな。ベンジャーが全然ダメだった。あれも以上にベンジャーダメじゃん。ベンジャーへこみすぎだね。いやこれどうするかだな。やっぱベンジャーが復調全然してないね。エントリーで7でしょ。7ラウンドだから、まあエントリーイコール取ったラウンドみたいなところか。まあでも、まあ、ハーデスがもう無敵すぎてこの試合はもうどうしようもなかったな。2マップ目はこの強さちょっと止めれんだろう。というわけで今日の配信はまさかの1時間で終了となりました。またちょっとやりたいと思います。ちょっと仕事がバタバタしてて、次配信やれるのは日曜日かな。日曜日ちょっと CG 関係やれるかどうかわかんないですけど、よかったら Twitch のフォローよろしくお願いします。サブスクもよろしくお願いします。というわけで皆さんお疲れ様でした。午後も頑張っていきましょう。今週も最後頑張りましょうということで、またお会いしましょう。お疲れ様です。ではでは。
We have let you down, guys. Like we heard the support on the when we were playing, so loud, the crowd like was so good. So I want